Hey guys, so what is going on with the Samba? Well, let's go look at it. So the bus is down once again. If you haven't been following the story, this is the original transmission that I had. I installed this 3 years ago. It's just a stock Type 1 transmission. And so what ended up happening is that it was developing a loud hum, noise. I could hear the gears and I could hear the transmission for the first time in 3 years. And it was getting louder and louder. And so what I ended up doing is taking it down before it broke, because loud noise is usually not a good, it's not good news. And so at the Pomona show, I bought a right gearbox, right, which is one of the shops, local shops here that rebuilds transmissions. So I bought one for $700. I installed it over the weekend in the bus. I went down to San Diego the next day, and then I came back, and then I was on my way to LA. So within the first 200 miles, then the Samba just didn't want to go anymore. It's just the wheels don't spin. Motor spins, but the wheels don't spin any of the gears. And so I was thinking that maybe it was the axle. If an axle breaks, then the motor spins, all the gears inside spin, and they try to put movement out through one of the axles, but if one of them's broken, then it just spins inside. So let's check if it's one of the axles. So here we are, the tires are raised here and over there. If I spin this tire and it spins freely, any of these tires, then that means the axle might be bad, might be broken. But you see that the other tire moves, which means the axles are actually connected to the transmission through the tubes. And so the problem is inside the transmission. It's probably a gear that went bad. So if you don't know how transmission works, here is the input shaft. This guy spins, right? And then that comes all the way to this back here. The transmission part of this whole assembly here is just this tiny little ball. This is where all 4 gears are, actually 5, right? Because of reverse. Then that's the main shaft. Then there's another shaft that comes down, and then the different gears engage. 3 other shafts in here that slide in and slide out the gears. And then the rotation is transferred to the shaft on the bottom. Then that shaft outputs here through a pinion gear, and then that engages with the big gear here that makes up for the differential. And the differential has 2 of those gears, right? And so I am thinking that it has to be that pinion gear, because that would explain why none of the gears work. It's the only way that would happen, I think. I mean, there might be another way where this shaft gets disconnected from another, from spinning any of the gears in here, or maybe none of the gears are engaging. I don't know. I don't know enough about these transmissions to be able to diagnose this problem. But I'm thinking that if the pinion gear in here is broken, then definitely that would do this, where none of the gears work, and even though all of the gears kind of engage. So I'm flushing the transmission off its fluids in preparation to take it down. There is no other way to really fix this transmission other than to take it apart. Here is a sign of trouble. This is the plug on the bottom of the transmission, and it has a little magnet in there, and it's supposed to catch any of the metal steel shavings that come off of the gears. Well, this is usually what an old transmission that's been working for years and years and years looks like. All that gunk right there, that's all metal. So of course the question is, how is it that a brand new transmission breaks within 200 miles? And so there's a few things, maybe someone got an old transmission, cleaned it on the outside, painted it, and then sold it as a rebuilt transmission, and I'm the sucker that went and bought it. This is a right gearbox, right? So it's got a name attached to it, whether it was work done by them or not, I guess it's still to be determined. I bought it from a guy that's supposed to be a dealer of this shop that rebuilds transmissions. I don't know if he's an actual dealer, right? I didn't check, but I guess I contacted Rightbox now and I asked them how the warranty process goes, right? And so a lot of these shops also, I don't know enough about Gearbox to know if they're good quality shop or not. But you know, also what they can do is they take it apart, they clean all the gears, they put new seals and stuff, but they leave old gears in there, right? And if they have a lot of play and you know, sometimes they can get them to work fine and quiet for another year, and then before they break again and stuff, right? It just depends, you know. Sometimes maybe they get gears from another transmission, they put them in there, they just coupled up like gears that are okay, and that's how they put another transmission good, as opposed to like rebuilding it the right way, which is like replacing all the gears, right? Buying new gears. And putting everything new in there costs obviously more money, right? And these transmissions are all between, you know, $700 and $1,500, depending on what's in there. Sometimes you will want, you know, performance parts inside the transmission, right? Some of the gears are hardened, they're extra hardened, they're extra welded together, they're put together with like maybe like tougher steel or whatever. And so those will cost extra, right? Those are upgraded gears. They're non-stock. This transmission here has the stock specs. The one that came off of this bus was also a stock spec. So I just talked to Rick Wright. He is the Rightbox guy, right? He's the one that owns the shop that changes that. And he said, check the clutch. Sometimes the clutch will fall apart. And if it falls apart, then even though your motor spins, your tires won't. And so I'm going to do that right now because it only takes, you know, a few minutes to take this motor apart. And hopefully it's a clutch. Although all that metal in that plug, it's kind of worrisome. So let's check it out. Here is the clutch. Here is the clutch. So as you guys can see, the problem was the clutch. It completely broke into two pieces. This is a part that goes in the motor and it's just spinning, but the other part that has the pads, well, that wasn't spinning because it wasn't connected to this. So never ever have I ever seen a broken clutch before. I'm sure it's happened to other people, right? It's just not very common, and it happened to me, and that's why the Samba didn't want to go the other way. I guess we'll have to replace it tomorrow. This is what happened when your transmission sucks. Breaks down. Doesn't let you go. Man.
Alright, copy.